Hey y'all, it's Danielle.
And my ear Salik. Today we're going to talk about basically why it's important for us to know our history and why we should never forget about it. And also we're looking at the nonviolent versus the by any means necessary approach. So like the Dr. Martin Luther King approach versus the Malcolm X approach. Um,
So the first topic is why learn our history, our Black history. Is like the same thing goes into why are they teaching history in the schools? You have to know your history to know where you're going, to know what your history is. It would better inform you of what is going on in the world today.
right, and we know in the schools the children are getting a correct interpretation of history. It's all
Inaccurate, right? You
it's
said
inaccurate.
correct. Oh, okay.
They aren't getting a correct
Right.
interpretation of history. That's what I said. They aren't getting a correct interpretation of history in the classrooms because it's all about them being indoctrinated with that European supremacy kind of thing. You look at Christopher Columbus, you look at George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and all this. It's Black History Month, which we make history every day. So giving us a month is not a pat on the back or anything. We make history every day, being in this country, surviving. But Asid said he didn't learn anything about any African Americans in his school, and I mean
For that whole month,
for
and
the
even
whole
throughout
month.
the year. Of course, you hear the Martin Luther King Juniors and the Harriet Tubman, the regular African Americans who made history, but to the European or the United States America standards, they were people who basically went out there and did something that was not so radical against what they were for. Uh,
Right, and then when you get once you get into like a understanding of history, it's like if you don't know where you've been, then you don't know where you're gonna go, and it's very easy for us to miseducate our children, like I was saying with the school thing, because we weren't taught all of these things in school as well. Because the European does control the education system. So a word of advice: um, your child or your seed should get two educations. If you're sending them to one of those schools, that's fine, but then they should get an at-home education where you are doing knowledge and then they're doing knowledge with you.
And then another thing with that is we teach our son, of course he learns like the Black history in the house, but then he also knows that in order to succeed or pass the grades or the classroom or the grades in his school, he needs to know and take tests on the history that they're teaching him. So if they're saying that slavery was, they give him the facts about what happened in those textbooks, he would have to give those answers, even though he knows the truth of what really happened.
And then we also teach him to speak out about it. If he
Exactly.
passes that test or whatever, and then that whatever he passes, and then once they're sitting there and they're talking about it, discussing it, he'll tell them like actually whatever, and if they have a problem with it, they can call me or his mother.
Right.
And that's how we teach him. You go in there, you handle your business because you're trying to get somewhere, and then at
And
the
he's
same
a straight
time,
A. He's a straight A student. He's been on honor roll continuously throughout the whole
candidate for
year.
the National Honor Society is it elementary.
Yeah.
So he's sharp.
But he also knows his history. He learns a lot about African Americans or African people, Black people
And
who.
he also learns European history because I always tell him they're your enslaver. Right now we're still in current day, basically Rome. Like we're still under their rule. So I always teach him to read. Don't just read about us. Read about them too, so you can know how they think and you can strategically move around in society. They control.
Right.
Um,
So a quote that I like, that I found, I don't know who the person who said the quote. It was something in the words of, "Those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it." So if we don't know, that goes back into the whole history. If you don't remember or even know your past, how are you able to make a better life for yourself? So with the queens, back in Africa, with the queens and the kings, and did you want to say like the quote that you said from Malcolm X?
well, Malcolm X just was. I was watching a lecture earlier, and he was basically saying that the reason that like Queen Elizabeth, Princess Diana, and all of them are royal, and have that status or whatever is because they know their history. They're able to trace back their history, and that's something that they took away from us. So You have to look at yourself as a king and a queen, because it's very hard for us to reach back and, ancestry.com yet, but they actually know for sure that their ancestors came from here, their ancestors did this and did that, and that's something that we don't have the privilege of knowing because of us being enslaved, due to Europeans coming into Africa or whatever. So Malcolm X just basically was saying, you have to reach back, and try to find out as much as you can, but at the same time, it starts now. Your dynasty starts now. Your
Right.
kingdom starts now.
And having a deeper understanding of our history that has occurred throughout the time before and after, we arrive in America as slaves, it will give us a better understanding of what is going on. Like I said before, what's going on now. We know that the system that we live in is not a black system. It's a system that is controlled over everyone, and it's usually like the rich over everyone, but mainly in like the black communities. The education is messed up. The what is it? The like the stores that we shop at in our own neighborhoods, like they're not owned by any of our black people. All this money is going out to other nationalities. It's so much easier for someone overseas.
Here comes I see you were talking about earlier. He wants to get in on the video. Say your name.
Raquel.
Yep. This is the little guy we were talking about earlier. We love him.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
No, I was just saying like you're squishing me. I was just saying, like, with the whole system is, nothing is controlled by black people. Like, we have the hair weaves that are not controlled by the black people. We have the education that's not controlled by our black people. Then we also have the stores, and basically the money is going in and then out of our communities. It's not something that's, being used for our people. And then, like, another topic that I see, or something that I see a lot of, is why should we get over it? Is why don't the black people just get over slavery? It happened so long ago. You've been free for so long, and why should we get over it? It's a part of our history. It's the same thing as saying, oh, the people, what happened in 9/11. They're not getting, we should remember. But when it comes to slavery or the history of black people, you should get over it. It's not getting over something. It's something that we need to learn and show that what we came from. Like, we're still in that whole system.
Or it's like kind of like an analogy would be like a man raping a woman, and he's raping her, and then he calls her a slut. You raped her. She's supposed to get over it. Now she's a slut, and all of that. It's like, no. We have to understand that when they say you're free, you have your freedom, you're free to be dumb. That's the freedom they gave you. Freedom. You're free to be dumb and think that you're free. Because, like I said, a lot of us don't want to do the knowledge. A lot of us don't want to do anything that has to do with our history because we're so caught up in the current day. But like my queen said, you have to understand that before we came here, a lot of things that we learn here now is history while we were here. But before we were here, we were kings, queens, doctors. We had our own everything. We created everything, and they took it from us. So we have to reach back and, like I said, regain that part of us, or else we'll be lost forever.
And all of it, like when we started these videos, it did start in February, but best believe, like, this history and learning it has happened way before February even began. And it's not because it's Black History Month, because honestly, like, nothing really happens in Black History Month. Nothing is televised. Well, I haven't seen anything televised, even though I don't watch a lot of TV, but it's not put out there as, something that's new. You might see the redundant heroes of, the Black heroes, the Martin Luther King, but you're not going to see the Marcus Garveys, the
W.B. Du Bois,
right?
All of those people. You see Frederick Douglass. I mean, they put people out there that were more submissive in order to get you to think that's what you have to be in order to survive in that society. A little sidebar: Dr. Martin Luther King, for example, good man. He followed Gandhi, but Gandhi was a racist who didn't like black people. Martin Luther King followed him. As a matter of fact, in front of his memorial, they have a statue of Gandhi. So if you don't know the history of Gandhi, you can go and you can research it. He has quotes where he's calling us toughers, which in Indian language basically is like you're like the bottom of the barrel type person. He has quotes where he's all he's talking about is us being at the bottom. Now I don't know if Brother King knew that, but you know now. So research. Like I said, do the me search. Don't listen to me or my queen and just say, okay, whatever. No, go out and research it. And get on that computer or phone or whatever you got, and
Right. So like when someone is saying get over it, why should we get over, our own cultural heritage, and basically embrace a heritage that was given to us, that was not, something that we came up with. It was something that was given to us, and it's either their way or, no way.
No way, right? And
Unless you go out there and become conscious. So
if you like real quick, if you look at it like my queen said, the get over it thing, they never tell the Jews to get over it. Now, the Jews supposedly
never.
had 6 million people die in that Holocaust. Our Middle Passage, we had 100 million Africans die on the way over here. That's
just the passage.
Just the passage.
Not even like including the slaves that were captured and sold and taken from their families, killed on the plantations, the hangings, even after slavery, like ended.
Yep, and the reason that the Jewish Holocaust is looked at as such an atrocity is because it's the only Holocaust that was caught on film.
Right.
Ours wasn't caught on film. So when you look at theirs, you see all the skinny people and all of this. But if you want to know the truth about the Jews, you go out and get a secret relationship between blacks and Jews. They have two volumes of it, and that tells you the truth about the Jews. So that's what I'm saying. When you know history, you don't look at them like, oh, poor. Death is wrong by any hands, by any man's hands, black, white, yellow, green. But you have to understand and understand why those people died. And then our people, like I said, you can't forget about it. Don't forget about it. Don't let them sucker you into, just saying, forget it. No, it's old. It's not old, because history brings about the current day situations. So
I guess that's going to end our session. We actually went over a little, but if you have any comments or or any topics that you want us to discuss, please leave below, and we'll try to do the topics or just bring up like some type of discussion. But besides that, thank you for watching, and
peace always. Hotel.